Well, Mr. Wolff is not happy. He has slammed the joke agenda for the recent F1 Commission meeting. What has happened? What has got Toto Wolff making printouts of data and slamming his fist on the table, throwing them headphones across the room? What has got him absolutely enraged here? Let's have a look at this on the F1Chronicle.com, guys. And in all seriousness, I don't know how angry he actually is, but he doesn't sound very happy about this. That is for sure. Toto Wolff has slammed as a joke something that is on the agenda for Thursday's meeting of the F1 Commission. Earlier in April, F1 authorities and engine makers, including top car makers' CEOs, met to discuss the radical proposal to step away from the controversial and revolutionary 2026 engine rules and consider a return to V10 power. Particular concern has been raised about the 50-50 split between traditional engine power and electrical power. The FAA has gone away and done their research, and I think what they want to do desperately is avoid a lot of this lifting and coasting in the Grand Prix itself, which is going to not be particularly good for the sport and hugely frustrating for the drivers, said Red Bull team boss Christian Horner. Now that's something we saw a lot, particularly in the early days of the V6 era, of course, as well, so I can imagine we could see something like that potentially again. But over time, of course, it's become increasingly rare as the teams have got on top of the engine regulations. And that's something that I think would definitely happen with this new 2026 regs eventually as well. However, some suspect that those pushing the V10 idea the hardest, Red Bull and Ferrari, are simply worried about their 2026 power units not being competitive. In contrast, Horner said in Saudi Arabia, Mercedes seem very confident about the work they've done for next year. It is true, however, that Audi and Honda are the biggest supporters of increasing the hybrid nature of the F1 power units, arguing that without the 2026 rule change, they would have never entered or stayed on the grid at all. At the earlier April meeting, it was decided that F1 would proceed as planned with the 2026 rules, although the FAA declared that all parties agreed to continue discussions on the future technical direction of the sport. However, Mercedes boss and team co-owner Wolff is surprised that the engine discussion features prominently on the agenda of Thursday's F1 Commission meeting. Reading the agenda of the F1 Commission is almost as hilarious as reading some of the comments that I see on Twitter or American politics, he said. It is believed that Red Bull and Ferrari have lobbied for Thursday's decision to include the potential of a vote on perhaps adjusting the 50-50 ratio to diminish the prominence of electrical power, but Horner denies the claim. It's not something that we've lobbied or asked for, he said. If they are doing it in the interests of the sport, then you've got to support it. Wolff, however, is furious. I really want to protect ourselves and make no comment, but it's a joke, he says, making a comment. There was only just an engine meeting, and then things like this end up on the agenda again. Ferrari boss Frederick Vasseur urges his fellow team bosses to avoid a public fight over the issue. We have been open to this and avoided fighting, he said. Even if somebody thinks they have an advantage because of the battery or something else, this could be the worst case scenario for F1. The Frenchman makes clear that he supports the matter being discussed again on Thursday. We have never had such a big change in regulations because this is the first time we are developing a chassis, an engine, and making changes to the regulations at the same time, said Vasseur. It is a challenge for both the teams and the FIA, so let's discuss this week. Hopefully we can find a decent compromise. I hope they can too. I am recording this on Friday, so they've already had this meeting. I've not heard anything about it yet. I'm sure everything will come out in the wash, particularly if something is interesting in terms of developments, but yeah, they can't do it. They keep talking about, I can't see them doing it. Honda would leave. Audi wouldn't join. Cadillac would actually support V10. As they're going to be a new team on the grid, and eventually they will make their own engines. And it's rumored to be 2028, might be around there, yeah. So there is that. Would Ford stay on board? Probably, given the fact that Red Bull are allegedly supporting it, and they are being backed by Ford next year, so I imagine Ford would be kind of on board with Red Bull with that. Ferrari, we know what Ferrari are like. I mean, the rumours about their engine not being very good for next year. There's no smoke without fire when it comes to these things, I do find that the rumours about Ferrari are usually true. When they are rumoured to be having an absolute rocket ship, they do. When they're rumoured to have a not very particularly fast car, that's usually the case. That was the heavy rumour coming into this season. I didn't want to believe it, but it appears to be true like it normally is. And yeah, Mercedes clearly want to have the new engine rig, so I think it'd be disastrous if they didn't go with it. I think it's all fully agreed now. I think everybody has signed the Concord agreement as well, aside from the FIA. I think the FIA are the only ones who haven't signed it, weirdly, but they will do. They've agreed to it in principle or something. I don't know, it's red tape and politics and stuff. Absolutely love that stuff, especially in F1. I don't see them going back to engines, V10 engines for 2026. You know, I could see them going back one day to V10 engines with the, you know, the renewable fuels, the synthetic fuels, the non-polluting fuels. So there is that. So we'll see, but I don't see them going back on this personally. Famous last words, I know, but your thoughts in the comments below, guys, as always. Is Wolff right to be furious? I mean, I guess in a sense, yeah, he's got to look out for his interest, isn't he? So, like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, guys. See you soon for some more F1 news and opinion pieces just like this.